I'm going to give you a talk about how we've started to use Julia at Aviva. Aviva, for those of you in the UK, you'll know who we are. We're a large UK insurance company, I think number 2 after Prudential, and we operate mainly in the UK, about half of our business, but then we're also spread across the rest of the world, in Canada, Europe, many of the markets in Europe, and across in Asia. My team has been focused on building out models for Solvency II. So Solvency II, if you're in the banking world, you might have heard of Basel II. Solvency II is sort of the equivalent sort of risk sensitive capital framework in the insurance world. You can either follow a standard approach to your capital models, or you can follow an internal model approach. And to follow an internal model approach, you've got to sort of go through a number of hoops and get it approved as an internal view of your risks. And Aviva went through that process, and we were granted internal model approval in 2015. And because of the long period this was developed, we actually bought our platforms back in 2010, a product called Algorithmics. By 2015, we got a little bit frustrated. So the algo system really wasn't keeping up with where we wanted to go. It was very difficult to change it. We had to go back to the vendor, IBM, make change requests, pay for changes. There'd be a long process of going to Boston, off to Amsterdam and back again, and we'd eventually get what we needed, but it was a long process and quite tortuous. So we decided to build our own solution. We sort of knew some of the framework, but we didn't really have a calculation engine. But when we were looking, I sort of keep an eye on these things, and I came across the Julia language, and I thought in my own time I'd just prototype some of the calculations. So we took some of the core calculations, one of the loops that's the most intensive loop in the system, and it's only 200 lines of code, or well, I don't know what it is in Algo because you can't see it, but in 200 lines of Julia, we managed to build that calculation, feed in our group data, and reproduce the algo numbers from year end 14, I guess it would have been at the time. We got the calculation which would have taken 40 minutes in algo to run in 12 seconds on one desktop computer. So from my perspective, the actuaries, the quants in my team, this should be a language that they should love, and it's giving us that speed that we couldn't get out of a proprietary solution. So of course that was just the start. We then needed to show that we could do the whole calculation, and this is a sort of a map of some of our calculations from left to right here. Some of the inputs, simulating risk distributions, generating a loss distribution on our balance sheet over 100,000, 500,000 scenarios, the assets, the liabilities, and we produce a number of different outputs for the different businesses. And you can see some of the remarkable runtimes that we got from the system. And this was not after months of tuning. This was first time through. One desktop computer instead of Algo, which was running 500 computers on a remote data center. So that's a bit about how it's running in production. Lots of users all around the world running it. Where do we go next? Well, we've built our first application. Finn, who's in the audience actually, there you go, put his hand up. He's helping us to rewrite the credit risk system, which coincidentally is also another algo system. It could have been another system. We're actually looking at a third system as well, which isn't algo. So we intend to transfer that. We're very pleased with Julia, and there's no reason why we can't repeat the same trick. We're pretty confident we can reproduce the calculations in Excel. If I can do that, then I can definitely put it in Julia. So there's no reason why we can't do it. We're now, I've got a couple of people in the team who are very skilled in Julia. We're now branching that out and building more skills in the team. So that's our story so far.